Alright, so this is a suggestion via Patreon. Now, the name of the video is another 10 solid minutes of geography and culture facts. Let's check it out.
Welcome to another 10 solid minutes of geography and culture facts. Let's jump right into it. The world's shortest international bridge stretches just over 10 feet or 3.2 meters from Spain to Portugal.
Yeah.
Rio.
Guys, that area is actually super interesting if you ever do get to travel to that region. Similar to that area, well, similar to that bridge, there's something also equally interesting to encounter. It's like a river that looks like blood. Yeah, it's like a blood red river. Super interesting thing. But that's basically the only thing interesting at that border. I'm just going to be honest. That is one of the weakest border well, no offense, okay? It's one of the weakest border crossings ever, guys. It's nothing there. But as soon as you get into the cities, things start to open up, and then obviously Portugal is an amazingly, gorgeous country to encounter, guys. Spain is equally also, guys. That's why I live in Spain.
Rio de Janeiro was the capital of Portugal from 1808 to 1821, following the conquest of Portugal by Napoleon. The Portuguese royal family fled to Brazil, where they established Rio de Janeiro as the capital. Brazil's northernmost point is closer to every country in the Americas, including Canada and Uruguay, than Brazil's own southernmost point.
That's a cool fact.
The entire continent of South America is east of Detroit, Michigan.
That's probably the reason also why whenever you're trying to set up like some type of electronic device, you'll generally see like your time zone says Bogota. Specifically if you're from the East Coast, right? It'll say like Bogota, New York. It's because it's the exact time zone we're in.
Parts of Canada are south of Detroit. The largest national park in the European Union isn't located in Europe, but in South America,
right.
in French Guiana, an overseas department of France. It's called the Guyana Amazonian Park, and it covers 41% of French Guyana's territory. 58% of the Amazon rainforest is located in Brazil. The next highest percent is Peru at 13%. The largest metropolis in the Peruvian Amazon is Iquitos, which is home to around 500,000 people.
Guys, this place is actually beautiful. Like Iquitos, the easiest way to get to probably Iquitos is going to be from like Lima, right? But if you guys go to Lima too, Lima's gorgeous. Like Plaza de Armas, like the entire plaza is all like in colonial yellow, from like buildings from like the 1500s. It's gorgeous, guys. You will have your mind blown with the beauty that is Lima, Peru, bro. Right? Iquitos is cool too, though. But expect like roughly maybe like a 2-hour flight from Lima to Iquitos. Generally, like an hour and 45 minutes or so, something like that, guys.
It is also the largest city in the world that cannot be reached by road. It is accessible only by river and air. Right. The country flag.
Oh, another thing about Iquitos, guys. Iquitos is similar to think of a tribal Venice. Because a lot of Iquitos is on like that river, guys, right? So you will encounter houses built on the water, and the only way they're getting to these houses is from boat. It's super interesting, guys. It's beautiful to photograph also.
Flag with the most colors is Belize with 12. 4 countries' flag designs incorporate a depiction of their flag within itself: Ecuador, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and El Salvador. Though English is the most commonly used language in the United States, the country has never declared it an official language at the federal level. But 28
at the federal level, but multiple states are just like, nah, we speak English here.
States have declared it as the sole official language.
Right.
3 of the states have declared it an official language along with at least 1 other language, and 2 have declared English the de facto with special status. 19 have no declared status.
Right. The funny thing about that is that whenever you bring up things like this to people, specifically people who are just like, listen, the United States is this one thing. I get it. Yeah, we're this one thing, but each of our states have like constitutions. We can generally go against whatever the federal government says at any time, right? There are things that are completely legal in one state, but absolutely illicit in another, guys, right? It kind of makes me think that, obviously we are one, but are we? Like, how different are we from the European Union? Because, like, living in kind of both of these unions, it kind of makes me think, I think we're probably closer to them, right? I mean, I get it that we want to have this one big thing. We do have this one big thing. Absolutely. One individual country. But it feels a lot like how Europe does it. Like, France is still France, bro, right? I mean, yeah, it's in a union, absolutely. But France feels like France. Okay, I mean, they can move from country to country, or let's call them nation states. Let's call them that for a moment here, just for the thought experiment here, right? But that's kind of the thing. All of these places are still individual. Germany still lords over everybody, right? Absolutely, lords over everybody. Kind of similar to Washington D.C. No, I guess it's not even similar at all. But either way, right? I always have a hard time trying to put this together. Like, why do the states have constitutions for one specific country? Shouldn't we just have one singular constitution that we live by? Huh. Weird things.
Europeans officially made contact with Florida in 1513, which was by Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon.
Right.
But what appears to be Florida is on 1507 maps. But before I share the next interesting fact, I want to share with you today's sponsor, Blinkist. Blinkist is a book summarizing service that helps you understand powerful ideas. President of the U.S., Thomas Jefferson, was a Peter Jefferson, the father of the third president of the U.S., Thomas Jefferson, was a cartographer.
Okay.
He created this map of Virginia along with another man named Joshua Fry. It is the first map to accurately depict the Blue Ridge Mountains. Thomas Jefferson later made his own map of Virginia. Piranhas are illegal to own in nearly half of the United States.
I'm guessing because they don't want to decimate local species of fish.
In Wichita, Kansas, there is a 109 degrees Fahrenheit difference between the record high and low for the month of February.
How many years apart was that, guys?
12 of the 20 drunkest cities in the U.S. are in the state of Wisconsin. It's also
Nothing to do.
legal in Wisconsin for children to drink in bars and restaurants or at home as long as they are with a parent or guardian. The London Bridge has been built a few times.
Right.
One of them was purchased in 1968 by an American businessman.
Yeah, we have it here.
The exterior granite blocks from the bridge were cut and transported to the United States. It was rebuilt and is now located in Arizona. King Edward Point, the capital of the British Overseas Territory of South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands, is the smallest capital in the world by population, having a population of between 12 and 22, depending on the season.
Oh, guys, that looks like an interesting place to encounter. Oh my God, guys, I've never been to the Sandwich Islands, guys, and now seeing images, I kind of understand why. That wasn't really a plausible thing. I'm guessing these are probably researchers, guys. These are not residents. This is not tourist friendly. That's probably the reason.
South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands is the smallest capital in the world by population, having a population of between 12 and 22, depending on the season. In 1986, the local Glasgow government changed the name of the street adjoining the South African consulate to Nelson Mandela Place, in recognition of the anti-apartheid activist who was at one time imprisoned by the South African government. In 2021, the Washington, D.C. City Council renamed the street outside the Saudi embassy after the slain Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
Right.
Just outside Falkirk, Scotland, a unique example of an intact Roman temple once stood. The stone building was destroyed in 1743 because the local landowner needed its stones to build a dam. 5 years later, the stones were swept away in a flood.
Oh, that's
Mongolia has slightly more
disrespectful.
horses than people, both sitting at just over 3 million. The Netherlands has more bikes than people, with 23 million versus 17 million.
And all of those rivers that kind of flow through Amsterdam, very specifically, speaking of the Netherlands, they all have bikes in them, guys, right? It would be really fun to go there and just magnet fish that entire river, right? It would be amazing. Imagine what you'll find in there.
Australia has more kangaroos than people, at around 43 million and 26 million.
Okay.
Before Australia's interior had been thoroughly
that's an old
explored,
map.
there was a theory that there was a giant lake at its center.
Yeah.
There was once a non-existent inland lake drawn in North America,
The Salt Lake something, Appalachian Salt Lake.
which was called the Appalachian
Something.
Salt Lake.
There we go.
Australia was part of the prehistoric continent of Sahul, which also comprised of New Guinea. Papua New Guinea is the most linguistically diverse country in the world, with 840 languages.
I think the mud people live there.
There are more than 60 million motorcycles in Vietnam. Quite a lot when you consider the population is around 95 million. Japan has toilets that sing to you. The Netherlands has toilets that look like this. Has toilets that sing to you. The Netherlands
trying to get a closer look at this. I'm just trying to understand the science behind this, guys. that's guys. When I went, like the last time I went, I don't think I encountered this, guys. Personally, not like this. It was in a hotel. This wasn't in like a restaurant or someone's personal house or anything like that. But why? Like, do you mount it backwards or something? Imagine mounting this thing backwards. Maybe that could be it, or maybe they're copying like how like most of Asia does it. Right? That could be it. That's probably it. Like they're mixing cultures somehow and creating this weird device. Guys, again, unless they're mounting it backwards, they could be mounting it backwards. I'm gonna go ahead and say that they're not mounting it backwards.
Has toilets that look like this.
Bro.
China is the only country that has more reclaimed land than the Netherlands. In China, since 2013, if you have parents that are over 60 years old, it's illegal to not visit them regularly. Next door to China,
I like that. I like that rule. I love the concept of that right there. It's exactly. Make that a law. Pass that here. Guys, please make that immediately happen for like everyone. Please.
is the country of Taiwan. Taiwan has been dubbed the face mask capital of Asia because the Taiwanese often wear surgical face masks.
Right.
This was a common practice even before the COVID-19 pandemic.
Absolutely.
There is a law that states every high school in New Zealand may hold 1 pound of uranium and 1 pound of thorium for conducting nuclear experiments. But they will be fined $1 million should there be a nuclear explosion.
Okay.
On the 2001 New Zealand census, over 50,000 people listed their religion as Jedi. That was more than the amount of Buddhists and Hindus in the country. In England and Wales, almost 400,000 people stated their religion as Jedi on the 2001 census, making it the 4th largest reported religion in the countries.
Right.
This was, of course, mostly due to people's love of Star Wars, but some cited their reasoning as not liking the government asking the religion question.
Oh.
Latvia's Independence Day is May the 4th, the same day as Star Wars Day.
Okay.
In the late 19th century, Afghanistan
Star Wars Day, May the 4th. What? Okay.
was
May the Force. Oh, double entendres. I liked it.
the same day as Star Wars Day.
May the 4th.
In the late 19th century, Afghanistan was home to some 40,000 Jews, but its decline began with an exodus to Israel after its creation in 1948.
I can
And
imagine.
most of the community that still called Afghanistan home left after the Soviet invasion in 1979.
Okay.
The last of Afghanistan's Jewish community left in 2021 after the Taliban took power of the country.
Right.
The continent of Asia has more surface area than the entirety of the moon. Australia is wider than the moon. Russia has 11 different time zones. If you count all of France's territory, they have 12. The capital city of Ukraine, Kiev, was awarded the hero city status by the Soviet Union in honor of its fierce resistance to the Nazis in World War II.
Oh, that's wildly ironic.
Kiev once again was granted the title in 2022 after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky stated, "I decided to mark our hero cities with a special title that already existed when another invasion was defeated, but a similar invasion. Another invasion, but no less cruel invasion." Algeria is the largest country in Africa by land area, but only about 10% of the country is actually inhabitable.
Right. I mean, it definitely does not have the population.
Seychelles
It's like mostly like desert regions. It's okay. Listen, the culture there is interesting. I would say personally hang out with the Berbers maybe. Other than that, like no offense, that's a flyover country, guys. I would not, as an American, tell you to go hang out in Algeria, guys.
is the smallest in Africa. Lake Malawi is nicknamed Calendar Lake because at its longest it is 365 miles, and at its widest it is 52 miles.
Bro, what just happened here? it just blinked.
The lake is also home to several hundred cichlid species, which are commonly found in home aquariums. South Africa hosts the world's largest bicycle race by the number of entrants. It's
Okay.
called the Cape Town Cycle Tour. It hosts 35,000 riders. The race once had over 42,000 before being capped at 35,000 in 2011.
Wow.
It's a commonly held belief that the Cape of Good Hope is the southernmost point in Africa, but it's actually Cape Agulhas. From 1915 to 1990, Namibia was part of South Africa. It was known at the time as Southwest Africa. Equatorial Guinea does not actually sit on the equator. Costa Rica doesn't have a standing army. It was abolished on the 1st of December 1948 by its president following its civil war. Its neighbor Panama abolished its standing army in 1990, following the U.S. invasion of Panama in 1989. The word Timor derives from the Malay word for east, so the name East Timor literally means east-east. The vaquita, the world's rarest marine mammal, has a small geographic range. They are only located in the northern
That's a joke, by the way.
part of Mexico's Gulf of California.
Like a geography joke.
East-east. The vaquita, the world's rarest marine mammal, has a small geographic range. They are only located in the northern part of Mexico's Gulf of California. Areas have been set aside to protect the marine life in the area, but illegal fishing operations have still resulted in possibly less than 10 vaquitas remaining. Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela experiences more lightning than any place on Earth. Also, 2 villages on the lake's western shore have the highest concentration of Huntington's disease sufferers in the world. The country of Suriname only has 1 movie theater. Jamaica is the only country in the world whose flag does not feature red, white, or blue. El Salvador is the only country in North America without a coastline on the Atlantic Ocean. The Bahamas has an island uninhabited by people that is unofficially named Pig Beach, after the pigs that inhabit it. Bhutan is the
But I bet you could survive there for a long time then.
that is unofficially named
Just eating pigs.
Pig Beach, after the pigs that inhabit it.
Until a hurricane comes and wipes you off the map.
Bhutan is the only carbon-negative country in the world. It is also illegal to kill any animals in the country. Andorra is the largest country in the world with no airport.
Because they don't want you going. But if you do get a chance to get to Andorra, have fun. Listen, it's going to be extremely expensive, though. I'm just going to let you know right now. It's going to be extremely expensive. All you're going to see are like Bugattis, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Aston Martins, Panars, Bugatti. Guys, all you're going to see there is just absolute insaneness. But yeah, they don't want you going. Period. Like that. Listen, go look at images of Andorra. You'll kind of understand instantly. But if you can make your way there, you'll have the time of your life. But it's just going to be absurdly expensive. It's basically like a rich person's playground, and I mean like disgustingly rich. Generally, there's a lot of like, do I really want to give advice here? Whatever. There's a lot of like tax sheltering going on here, guys. Fully, absolutely, completely. Why does my camera keep shutting off? I don't know. But there's a lot going on here, guys.
Finland has the world's highest annual consumption of milk per capita, at approximately 1 quart per person per day. North Korea owes Sweden around $300 million for Volvos and mining equipment the country sent them back in the 1970s. North Korea was at one time paying the bill, but they stopped in the late 1980s.
I bet.
Some of the exported Volvos are still occasionally spotted in North Korea. Back in 2016, the Swedish embassy in Pyongyang posted a photo showing one of the still unpaid cars, saying that it was used as a taxi.
Right. And of course, it's going to run 1 million miles. Absolutely. Guys, those old Volvos, listen.
Belgium's Royal Palace of Brussels, there are more than 1 million beetles in the ceiling. Iraq's Palace of Brussels, there are more than 1 million beetles in the ceiling.
Like on purpose. Why are we not bug spraying this, guys? Do you like bugs?
Iraq's coastline measures 58 kilometers or 36 miles.
Okay.
It's
not like they used to be.
Men are permitted to visit Mount Athos, a mountain and peninsula in northeastern Greece. Females are forbidden. This includes female domestic animals, the only exception being cats, for their ability to catch mice. This is Tokelau, a dependent territory of New Zealand. Tokelau has a population of less than 2,000 people, but it has more registered domains using its country code than any country in the world. .tk.
Right.
If we look to Tokelau's southwest, we see Tuvalu, another island nation. Its internet domain, .tv, may be a little more familiar to you if you're into video games
Right.
and have watched games streamed on Twitch TV. And that concludes another 10 minutes of geography and culture facts. Don't forget, if you sign up on Blinkist using the link up.
All right, guys, listen. Another dope video coming from Geography Geek. Guys, the world is such an interesting place, right? So the people who are like, listen, I'm never going to leave my small town, bro. Please leave your small town, please. I beg of you, just please. Like, like the amount of like ignorance that instantly leaves you, right? When you leave what you're comfortable with and jump into another country that doesn't speak your language, the culture is extremely different than yours, right? But you have to survive. Do you understand? Like you have to survive. You have to make it, guys. It's such a like you can't get that back, right? Like you could never go back to being like, yeah, I spent my whole life in a in a 3-state radius, guys. Even if it's within like the United States of America, guys, all 4 corners are so drastically different, right? Why does this, guys? I'm gonna fix this for the next video. I don't know what's happening, but we're gonna fix it. But guys, yeah, please. The only takeaway I ever want people to have from me, very specifically, learn something and travel, guys. Like, get out of wherever you are. Like, you don't have to be there. If that makes any sense. Gosh, guys. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day and enjoy your day thoroughly.